Chapter 10. Why standest you afar off, O Lord? Why hidest you yourself in times of trouble? Through the pride of the wicked the poor is hotly pursued. They are taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth his heart's desire, and the covetous vaunteth himself, though he contemn the Lord. The wicked is in the pride of his countenance, saith, He will not require. All his thoughts are, There is no God. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his adversaries, he puffeth at them. He saith in his heart, I shall not be moved. I, who to all generations shall not be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue is mischief and iniquity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In secret places does he slay the innocent. His eyes are on the watch for the helpless. He lieth in wait in the secret places a lion in his lair. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him up in his net. He croucheth, he boweth down, and the helpless fall into his mighty claws. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hides his face, he will never see. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand. Forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God, and say in his heart, You wilt not require. You have seen, for you behold his trouble and vexation, to requite them with your hand. Unto you the helpless committeth himself. You have been the helper of the fatherless. Break you the arm of the wicked, and as for the evil man, search out his wickedness till none be found. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations are perished out of his land. Lord, you have heard the desire of the humble. You wilt direct their heart. You wilt cause your ear to attend, to right the fatherless and the oppressed, that man who is in the earth may be terrible no more. All right, let's go back up. Verse 1. 1a. This here is another song. Well, I'm presuming David wrote this. We have not the author's name here, but the question's being presented. It begins with a question. Questioning something that we find ourselves doing often. Questioning why are things like they are. Often from a king's perspective, we can sit and look out the window, and there's many things going on below. We see the actions of all men and all things that are going on, those that lurk about in the hiding places in the shadows, waiting for people, these easy prey, the ignorant or the poor, those who are in need, and the offering of something sweet may attract. And that's kind of the perspective we got to see things from, and when we read this psalm here. But there is a law, and we'll find out. God's going to hold everybody accountable. There's a lot who think they're getting away with it, but we'll find out. Generation to generation are paying for their crimes. We're going to pick it up here in verse 1. Why stand you afar off, O Lord? Why hide you yourself in times of trouble? Why stand you afar off? Why have you distanced yourself, Lord? Why have you put such a distance between man and yourself? And why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? In times it seems like things are at its worst. We don't really see the understanding of God in all things. We'll find out. God's got a plan, and it's already set in motion. He baited the trap, so to speak. It's a snare that God created, and it is for the wicked man. God's already gone before us, and he's just waiting for us to catch up. 2. Through the pride of the wicked, the poor is hotly pursued. They are taken in the devices that they have imagined. Through the pride of the wicked, these wicked people, these wicked people are wicked within. You can't tell by their appearance. You can't tell by looking at them. They have no certain colors or ways of dress. These people are wicked within, and they can hide themselves as easily as anybody because of their wickedness. But it's through their pride, through their exaltation, we'll find out of their ways, of their understanding. See, the poor is hotly pursued. It's like he's being chased. He's being hunted like some kind of animal. We'll find out. These are the ones who are poor. Yeah, they may not have much, but it's understanding they've been denied. It's knowledge that's been kept from them. See, if you can't afford it, in other words, you're not going to get any. And this ain't doesn't matter, because we'll find in the beginning, God give everybody understanding, God give everybody knowledge, and God give everybody wisdom, and that is the understanding. See, and that's what they don't have, and this is why they're wicked. We're going to find out. They are taken in the devices that they have imagined, these imaginations of men, and that's what takes them. And these imaginations is an image. It's an idol. And back then it was a great example that was used. God give all the other nations their gods to worship for their sins and for their activities. And God said to Israel, now you shall not do this thing. 3. For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire, and the covetous vaunteth himself, though he contemn the Lord. For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire. They lift themselves up for all the things they want, and even in their own understandings, they exalt themselves. Oh, they take up that position, and they want to play the part. But we'll find out it's not the part that God assigned. See, it's all for your own wants, all for your own desires, all for these things that you wish to have, and that's the wicked. These that are wicked. Wicked before God may not be wicked before men. We'll see men have a way of perverting things. And the covetous vaunted himself, though they contemn the Lord. Even though they're bringing the Lord to great anger. See, they're bringing God to great anger. The covetous, they vaunt themselves. And these are the greedy. They are the greedy of earth. They are the greedy of life. They don't care who they trample. They don't care who they hurt. And we'll find out who they are. See, they are the godless. They don't even believe in God. They don't believe that there's one that's going to hold accountable. They don't believe in the law which God put in nature. Neither do they believe listening to their heart or their own understandings. 4. The wicked, in the pride of his countenance, says, he will not require. All his thoughts are, there is no God. And this is what the wicked say in the pride of his own countenance, or in his own understandings. This pride, his own exaltation of himself, he thinks he's the greatest one. And we'll find out this shoe fits many. He says to himself now, and this is in his own understanding, he will not require. God does not question me. God does not question these things. We'll find out. God does not regard them. God's not going to hold me accountable. Why? His thoughts are inward. There is no God. He doesn't have no understanding. And from a child, though most of them are grown, from a child, see, they wasn't taught respect. They wasn't taught regard. They wasn't taught knowledge, wasn't given understanding, didn't receive any wisdom. Nobody told them the law. See, and they go greatly astray. And this is what happens to people in life. And these wicked, they chase after all these things, this greed, the gold that men see, the gold, and they get greedy, and this overtakes their life. 5. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are far above, out of his sight. As for all his adversaries, he puffs at them. His ways prosper at all times. The thief thinks he's getting away. We find out, and he goes and he robs and pilfers and steals, and he thinks he's living in luxury, and everything's good. Oh yeah, things prosper. We'll find out all things come to an end. There's somebody watching from above. And his ways do prosper at all times. We'll find out through deceit. And your judgments are far above, out of his sight. He doesn't know that God's watching him, and he's got him in his judgment. He's right there, and the moment comes when he's found out, see, and he's taken. And now he's found in his judgment. As for all his adversaries, he puffs at them. He don't think he's got any adversaries. See, he's took up the position, and he's using that position for deceit. 6. He says in his heart, I shall not be moved. I, who to all generations shall not be in adversity. And he says in his heart is his own understanding, his own within himself. See, to that inner person, that inner man. I shall not be moved. Nobody's going to take me out of this place. Who to all generations shall not be in adversity. I ain't going to see no bad from forever. He thinks he's got himself secured. He thinks he's in a position that can't be moved. We'll find out. None can take up that position. See, that's what death was for, to cut him off. And death is the non-observance of the law. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue, mischief and iniquity. His mouth's full of cursing and deceit. Let's go. This word cursing here is Allah. And what that means, it's like cursing. It's more like agreements and covenants. He's always wanting to make a deal. Always wanting to make a deal. Got a cookie and some Kool-Aid to go with that deal too. Something a little pleasant, a little something. And deceit and fraud. But see, we're going to find out in his back of his mind. That's what he's got planned for you. Deceit and fraud. He's come to steal and take away everything you've got. All things that are fleshful, I mean, they have little meaning, but nonetheless, a person puts his days and labor into these things. And this is what they've come for, because the soul, and we'll find out if they had the ability to steal it. But what they do is they deceive, and they have this tongue, under his tongue, even under that works in his mouth, in the back of his mind, so to speak, is this mischief, this vanity. It's all a waste of time, because he's only seeking for himself gain, money, gold. He's not trying to give you anything, to give you something. We'll find out. See, God give you some understanding. God give you some knowledge. God give you some wisdom. I like to call it common sense. Something that a lot of people don't have today because no one helps them in it. See, everybody's got something they want to sell. Everybody's got something they want to sell. Can anybody write it down, put it in a guarantee? God can. 8. He sits in the lurking places, the villages, and secret places. Does he slay the innocent? His eyes are on the watch for the helpless. That's who he is. That's the wicked man. See him there. We find him there lurking in the places of the villages and all the little towns all about where the peaceful people live. In the secret places, does he slay the innocent? These secret places, these places that shouldn't even be there, they lay in wait. We're going to find out they literally lay in wait for the souls of men. They hunt the souls of men. Murderers. His eyes are on the watch for the helpless. These that are innocent, these that are helpless, these that fall upon a little bit of hard time, are looking for a little help from God, and all they get's lies, a sack of evil, wicked people. And it goes on today. Nothing's changed in the thousands of years that men are on the earth. God causes these things to continue. See, it's like a slow, gentle rain. It takes a little while to water the garden. 9. He lies in wait in a secret place as a lion in his lair. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He does catch the poor when he draws him up in his net. And he lies in wait in a secret place. In these places shouldn't even be there. As a lion, just like a lion, that mighty one that roars. He's ready to rip and tear, shred in his lair. That's the place where he lays in wait. He's laying there waiting, hiding for the prey. And he lies in wait to catch the poor. He lies in wait to catch the poor, this great beast. It's nothing but a man, see? He's a man. Yes, he's a man, and he's dressed in this clothing, even the understandings of a man. And he does catch the poor. He does catch the poor. He baits his trap, see? He got his bait as his trap, and he draws them up in his net, just like he's catching fish. He catches these souls of men. These fish are the lives in the sea, the lives in the water. These things that live in understanding. They're looking for understanding, and what they find is the hook, the bait on the hook. And see, they are taken. 10. He croucheth, he boweth down, and the helpless fall into his mighty claws. He croucheth, he boweth down, he stoops himself, and these ones that are taken, these ones that are in his net, these ones that they fall into his mighty claws or into his works, these things which he's going to rip and shred with. 11. He has said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hides his face, he will never see. Now he said in his heart, in his own understandings, have led him to think that God hath forgotten. And he hides his face, he will never see. We'll find out that's not the case. God knows what's going on. There's no hiding from it. You make yourself known. You become blatant in the world. Evident to yourself. Your fatness makes yourself known. This fatness I speak of is always having the best of life for yourself while the others suffer. We'll find out. That high seat. Take up that seat. That's God's seat. God's the king. Don't think he won't see. 12. Arise, O Lord. O God, lift up your hand. Forget not the humble. Arise. Stand up. We know what happens when God comes up out of his seat. There's going to be somebody going to pay. See, lift up your hand. Show your works now, Lord, this great judgment you've set in the earth. Forget not the humble, those that have humbled themselves to your understanding, Lord. And we're going to find out, even these that are oppressed, that's who we're talking about, these that are pressed down by these wicked men, those that deceive, those that lie, those always looking to make $1. I got it for free. It's right here in the book. There ain't nobody had to give me anything. I heard it, and there it is. It's the law of God. 13. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God, and say in his heart, you will not require. Now why then does the wicked contemn? Why does the wicked man bring God to great anger? Because we know when God arises, he's going to make a great example. See, that was the intent, to break him of the habit from the beginning. See, he says in his heart, the wicked man does, you will not require. God won't hold accountable. God won't regard it. God won't question what he does. We'll find out. Oh, yes, God does question what you do. God does hold you accountable. 14. You have seen, for you behold his trouble and vexation, to requite them with your hand. Unto you the helpless commits himself. You have been the helper of the fatherless. You have seen, and God's answered your prayers, for you behold his trouble and vexation, for you've seen it. You've seen this, and you know what it is. You know that they're doing this thing. We'll find out. And God has requited of them with his hand, his works. God has put it in the earth already with his works. And these are those, they make themselves evident. God said it from the beginning, and this is what it was going to happen. He declared the end in the beginning. See, and that's for all those that oppress, all those that take up those positions. See, God knows who you are. And unto God the helpless commits himself. Because it becomes mightier than they are. It's something there's nothing they can do about, because, see, it's the great punishment of God. That day God causes the rest. To say the day the wicked man's held accountable for the covenant by the righteous man who gave it to him that he might live. God has been a helper to the fatherless. God has been his helper to the fatherless. He's helped the ones that don't have a father, these ones that don't have a teacher. God has taught them. God was their understanding from the beginning, see, and they've leaned on God. 15. Break you the arm of the wicked, and as for the evil man, search out his wickedness till none be found. And break you the arm of the wicked. This arm, his strength, his ability to hold over the people, to exalt his ignorance, and the people think it's some kind of sparkly thing they want to bow down to. And as for the evil man, this wicked man, search out his wickedness till none be found. Punish him, Lord, till he can't be punished no more. And that's what's been going on since the beginning. See, the wicked are being punished, and they're non-observants. See, they turn from God, and God said that's fine, but we'll find out they always turn from God and go create themselves something else to worship. They can't find no understanding in God. Because they don't wish to observe the law of God. They use all things for their gain. 16. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations are perished out of his land. And the Lord is king forever and ever and ever and ever. That's the Almighty. By the way, there's no image there. Had nothing we could see there. We found out in the beginning God was a judgment in the earth then. But the nations are perished out of his land. Well, they are held back. See, we got gates, walls, no way in, but through the gate, you'll have to set yourself under the judgment of God, make yourself accountable to God, come under God's observance, come under God's understanding. See, give it to you in the beginning. Put it in your heart. You already have understanding of it, how to treat others, how to be responsible in life, for yourself. See, there's nothing you can do for these others. We have to have examples. See, we have to give them the law, give them understanding. That's what God said. Teach it to your children. Nobody's doing that. We'll find out that was a generation that had to pay for that. That's what I call the silver. That belongs to God. 17. Lord, you have heard the desire of the humble. You wilt direct their heart. You wilt cause your ear to attend. Lord, oh no, God's always good to listen. He has heard the desire of the humble. He knows the earnest expectations of the humble, those that have committed themselves to his understanding, those that have committed themselves, and that's to place themselves in accountability to God, being accountable for their actions. That it's a very simple thing. God does direct their heart. God is in your understanding, see. And he does attend to your earnest expectations. 18. To right the fatherless and the oppressed, that man who is of the earth may be terrible no more. To right the fatherless, to justify, to be correct to the fatherless. And the fatherless are those that just don't. They got no. Let's say there is a father and a mother. There is a masculine and a feminine. There is a rule and a pleasantness from it, or the harshness that comes from the rule. See, I like to look at it that way myself. The father kind of gives down the rules. The mother teaches it to the children that they can understand it, see with some pleasantness, and understand that if you disobey the rules, the Father will punish you. See, God's gonna give you put you in your judgments for that, and that's really the way it works. That this man who is of the earth may be terrible no more. This man here is Enosh, and it's this mortal man. It's man, this mortal man, this flesh. These that are of flesh, that will give no understanding to the Spirit, and have no respect for the way other people feel, the other people, and take not advantage of your brother, the others of the earth. We'll find out they're always out there, and they ain't going nowhere. God wants you to be able to identify these people. They are here. They exist. We are taught how to identify them. God teaches us these things. God, through the law, it's a very simple thing. You won't get far before you start to perceive these things which God is trying to teach you and show you. We're going to move forward. Psalm 11. Turn and return.